On a shamanic level, plants live in two worlds. They live in this one that we can see, which is the fake reality, that the Gnostics, the Hindus, the Buddhists, Maya, it is an illusion, what we see, it is a matrix. And they also live on another reality, which is a spiritual reality, which is where the shamans can go, visit and do work. It's a bit like the computer game. What is the computer game? A computer game is when you sit in your reality and you control an avatar in a different reality, a cyberspace reality. And this reality that we live in is a fake reality. It is a cyberspace. It is a manufactured, computer-controlled reality. The problem with humans is that we have become so attached to it, we believe that this is the only reality and the true reality, when in fact, for the shaman, it isn't. As you, the computer player, control your avatar in the cyber world, the plant lives in its spiritual reality and its avatar is the plant that we see. That's how plants can access this world. You wouldn't believe it, but plants, they're quite similar to humans. What makes a human? Smell, touch, sight, hearing. Plants, they can do the same in their own way. You see, the problem is that you think just because you're a human and you have your consciousness, that human consciousness is the only type of consciousness. But you've got to start thinking outside of the box. There are different consciousnesses. It isn't solely imprisoned in the human existential perception of the world. Plants, they have their consciousness, and to handle this world as living beings, which they are, according to the shaman, they also need the tools in order to manage this physical reality. When the caterpillar goes onto the tree and makes its sound munching, the tree sets off some sort of chemical reaction in order to get rid of the caterpillar. But when you record the caterpillar eating and you play that same sound to the tree can hear that sound and it starts producing those chemicals in order to get rid of the caterpillar. Now that is hearing. And just because we can't see the energy that the plants produce doesn't mean that the plants can't see the energy of other plants. I mean, a bee can see the energy of a plant. When a bee goes and gets nectar from a plant, the plant's energy decreases. So other bees don't waste their time going to those plants to try and take nectar that's already been taken. The big question, do plants have consciousness? And for the shaman, it's a very simple answer. Yes. They are more conscious than us, because you see, the plant teaches the shaman doesn't teach the plant. So if something teaches you and you can't teach it because it has more capacity, more power, more understanding, more wisdom, by the human understanding of what consciousness is, that would dictate that that entity has more consciousness than you. Plants have been here over 400 million years. If they've had 400 million years to evolutionize and us humans just 200,000 according to mainstream science, it would mean that plants have had an awful lot of time in order to advance. And through the shamanic perspective, plants can cure, they can fight, they can teach, they feed us, they live on light, water, air. They have alchemy, they can turn light into dense energy, they can turn light into food for us. They can change CO2 into oxygen. In the other worlds, they have their technology. In the other worlds, they have their bodies, their bipedal bodies. In the other worlds, they are very different creatures. It's just that we only see another reality that they manifest in, because they manifest in two realities, whereas we only believe that we manifest in one. They live under the sun, they speak to the sun, they eat from the sun, they listen to the stars, they drink from the water, they drink from the air. They have less needs than us. Having less needs, I don't think we should confuse with simplicity. It's probably more intelligent to have less needs than more needs, because obviously complicated things have more problems. And why would we want more problems? The human race has already got enough. Surely the human race would want to simplify itself like a plant in order to be a lot more in harmony with the world. If as humans we judge spiritual advancement on energy, then we could judge plants to be more advanced than us. If you can eat energy, which we can't, then you must logically be more evolved than us. It's the plants that act as the intermediary from the sun to us. They are the ones that convert photons into biophotons. You see, plants are 470 million years old. Humans are just 200,000. We will think that plants don't move. We think that they don't dance, but they do. It's just that they dance a lot more slower than what we do. For plants, we move at great velocities. Time doesn't need to be the same for them as it is for us. We think as humans, through our hubris, our misunderstanding of technology, that we've created a carbon emission world, that we've changed nature, that we've lowered the ice caps in the North and South Pole. But the plants, they've done the same thing. Plants have been accused of making most of the plant population go extinct. They've been accused of creating an ice age by sucking out minerals of rocks, allowing those rocks to suck in carbon dioxide from the air and change the entire world. But because we don't see it done on human terms, we don't believe it's possible it can be done. We think we're clever. We think we're the ones that have altered nature. But we don't look around to see that plants, they've also altered nature. If you wanted to push the boat out a little bit further, if plants are helping us in our evolution, what helped plants in their evolution? Rocks, because for the shaman, everything is conscious. The mountains are conscious, the rocks are conscious, the stars are conscious, the sun is conscious. The rocks have been here 4 billion, the plants have been here 470 million, and we have been here 200,000. The tools that we have, sight, smell, are only here for us because of the consciousness that we have. Those are the tools that help us with our conscious evolution. If plants have a different type of consciousness, then they're going to have a different type of tool in order to help them with that conscious evolution. And listening to this video, you might think, well, if the plants can live in two worlds at the same time, is it possible that humans could live in two worlds at the same time? And the answer to that is quite possibly. The Hindus talk about different bodies, different astral bodies that you have. And in each of those bodies, they can go into each different type of spiritual universe because they act more like spacesuits or interdimensional suits than they do bodies. But we co-evolutionize with other species. We co-evolutionize with the plants and with the rocks and with the animals. That is why it's so important that we live here in peace with other species. And the human suffers from hubris. And we all know what happens to those that suffer from hubris. They fall, they die, they perish. And if humans carry on with the perception and the arrogance that they have, then the plants in the world will just rise up, which it is at the moment. And you're seeing the storms, you're seeing the rising of the oceans, you're seeing the weather change, which will affect our crops, which will affect our food. The world, if it wishes, can create earthquakes, it can destroy cities. But we keep thinking that the world isn't alive. Our behavior is affecting the earth. Yes, it is, but not on a physical level. It's affecting it on a conscious level. And the earth waking up is telling us to respond. It's telling us to also wake up out of our stupidity and out of our limited consciousness. Co-evolution is about co-evolution of consciousness. Plants are helping humans. Humans are helping plants. Plants are helping animals. Animals are helping humans. Everyone is in this cycle, this ecosystem of consciousness, and everything is trying to rise up at the same time. That is why we need to respect the other types of consciousness and not believe that humanity's consciousness is the only type of consciousness, because we in our arrogance are stopping other species from evolving as well, and that will have a karmic effect not only on humans but also on everything else. This reality is an illusion. This reality is a matrix. This reality is a computer generated hologram. This world allows us to interact with different consciousnesses because we all come here and take on different forms and different bodies that allow us to interact with each other. So in our arrogance and our hubris, we think that the world bends to our view and to our will. We think that we control everything. We think that we control the planet. We think that we have dominion. It says in the books, the world is ours to do what we want with it. And the animals are ours to do what we want with it. Maybe it's plants that tell us what to do. Maybe it's plants that do what they want with us. Maybe it's plants that control us. They control what we eat. They control what diseases we can fix. They control the weather. If you understand plants, you'll realize that they have a habit of making other animals do their work. They make the bees pollinate other plants. When they're under attack from one animal, they call other animals. Plants do things their way, a way that is difficult for us to see. What is even more amazing is that plants seem to 450 million years ago have come from moss. Moss comes from a spore. A spore can travel through space. There is a theory that plants have come here from space. That would make them aliens, and they've adapted over 450 million years. And there is an idea that perhaps plants wish to go off planet. Perhaps they wish humans to take them off planet. Humans are here doing their work. We're here building the spaceships. We're here looking at genetic modification. Perhaps, just perhaps, plants want to speed up their evolution through genetic modification. And just perhaps in our spaceships, they want us to take them off-world and rearrange their genetics so that they can adapt to new planets. That would ensure their survival a lot better than a spore travelling through empty space trying to find a planet. All planets come to an end, and everything on that planet will die. Our Earth will come to an end through meteorite or through the sun. And so in order for the humans to ensure their survival, humans will one day have to leave the planet. And plants have been looking at evolution hundreds of millions of years more than what man has. And so to ensure their own survival, they would need to get off planet. But because they have their limitations, and because they have their ways of doing things, that being getting other species to work for them, then the ultimate way for them to leave this world is to get humans to do their bidding, humans to make the technology, humans to understand genetic modification, so that they can take the plants through space in the state that they are, modified a little bit better, and then plant them on other habitats in other planets and make those evolutional jumps for them.